We're here with tight end Eli Finley after the Bulldogs opened up spring practice this morning. First practice out of 15. If you want to open up for questions, let's go ahead.
Yeah, Eli, I guess just, what do you guys want to get accomplished this morning?
We just wanted to go out there, focus on us, and just go attack the day. I mean, it's a new group of guys, new year, new offense. Defense is still stacking days, so just go out there, figure each other out. We had previous 6 OTAs before this, and so we're still learning each other, learning our offense, and just figuring everything out.
What's your first impression of this offense?
I mean, I love it. I mean, Coach Young's a great coach. He has a great plan, and we're just going to go out there, attack every day, and then once we get that plan set, we're going to go out there and win games.
Do you feel like it's going to kind of return back to what he was doing previously when he was calling plays, or is it kind of like a brand new system in a way?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think he's just going to keep refining his mold and then fit the play styles of what we have on offense and attack defenses and the areas that we think we can win.
Individually, as you look back on last year, where do you want to improve coming into this year?
I think everywhere. I think I always have a lot of room to work. I want to get in that end zone, but I just want to be that guy for my teammates, that guy that they can lean on, and then be there for my team, make plays, and just be a leader.
As a veteran playmaker, who are some of the young guys that are catching your eyes, or is the quarterback can trust?
We got a great room of guys, all our receivers, all our tight ends. I love Jay Mick, Luke Watkins. Those are my guys. Those are guys that are going to go out there and make plays and strive for this team.
What's it just like seeing, I guess, Blake, back on the field, obviously a tough end of his season with the injury. What's it like, catching passes from him?
It's good, man. I love Blake. Blake's been my roommate for 4 years now. He's worked his tail off every day, so I'm happy and I'm proud for him to just go out there and keep working and stacking days.
How do you feel like this group can kind of continue the success that you guys had just from last year?
I think we got enough guys here that have retained guys, and that's the biggest thing in college football nowadays. If you can retain guys, then you're better set off to that next year, and we have a bunch of guys who know the standard here, and so that helps us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Good job, Eli.
We're here with linebacker Jaden Mayfield after the Bulldogs open up their first spring practice in 2026. If everyone's ready, we can go ahead and open up for questions.
Yeah, Jaden, I guess just like he was saying, the defense obviously returns a good amount of guys. Comfortability level, I guess, now where you like this at?
It's very comfortable. We're good in our fits as linebackers. D-line is doing very well. We retained some of those, and the back end looked pretty well. So I feel like we're just stacking days and getting better.
What's it like just being back with Coach Olson?
It's a blessing because, in this college football, everybody move around. College coaches here one day, gone the next day. So I'm just glad I get like a 2-year stability in this defense, and I feel confident in Coach Olson's ability to coach.
Obviously, getting Colby back as well, I'm sure that's a boost. I know what he does off the field for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Getting him on the field is that.
Yeah, it's like a morale boost if you know about it. He's just like the captain. He's the leader. He's a veteran, and when he's on the field, it makes it way easier. Communications go up, everything goes up. He know the play before it's coming, so that's what makes him a great player.
I know this defense prided itself on taking the ball away last year. How do you kind of maintain that?
Maintaining, ball drills, doing it after practice, just doing our one-on-one. It's going to come to us. We just got to do more, fumble, punching out the ball, and create more turnovers that way too. Takeaways is just very important to a defense to get a ball back to the offense as quick as possible.
Are there any newcomers or young guys that have kind of...
It is. I'd probably say some newcomers, but guys that been here, like Jalen Parnell, he done got off his injury and he looking very good. Jeremiah and Aiden, the linebackers, look pretty well. I know Nardo is a cornerback. Looks very well. We just got a lot of pieces coming, and MJ at star, he looking pretty well. Everybody's just looking good, and we brought in the right people for this team.
Eli said that a lot of the returners know what the standard is now.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe what that is?
Standard is, like I said, do your one-on-one. You know, be accountable. Like we got our connections and our cornerstones on here: loyalty, connection, consistency, and service. I mean, like it just mean everything. Like you got to be there for your brother. You got to be your brother's keeper. Have his backbone. You got to stand up for him even when the bullets fly. For real, that's what that means.
It's like seeing Josh.
It's actually good. It's kind of weird because like I ain't have my college, some of my high school teammates, so it's weird. But I'm glad some more wrestling guys. Jordan Parker came too, receiver. It's just like just seeing them out there working, it just bring me back to high school again. Like I say, like bringing wrestling back over here to Tech and just building this culture up. It's just amazing for real.
All right, Jaden, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir. All right, everybody, we're here with head football coach Sonny Cumby. The Bulldogs open up the first spring practice of the 2026 season. If everyone is ready, let's go ahead and, actually, Coach, just give us an opening statement on what you saw from day one from your team today.
Yeah, it was a good start for spring practice one. You know, the first thing is to my knowledge, there are no injuries, so that's always the number one thing you're looking forward to is getting off, because there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy that your players have in terms of spring practice one, and we've been doing a lot of workouts, you know, similar to this, building up to it, and really pleased with how everybody went out today and executed. And I think that in this era, really, of college football, you know, your calendar is so much different now than previous, and so just taking, you know, really a different approach in terms of how we're building out through this spring practice. Then you go into the summer, and then also into fall camp in terms of preparing your football team for the season. So today was a little bit lighter than normal, and we'll continue to increase in terms of you know, in terms of the tempo, in terms of the reps, and in terms of the crossover periods that we do as we go through spring. But you know, I was proud of our guys. I think that throughout the course of spring, since we've already got these newcomers here, and when they were here, I think there's been a lot of continuity and chemistry that the guys have built off of. I think there's an excitement about this team. There's a lot of ownership that is cultivated throughout this team with some of the returning players that we have. I think they've done a really nice job of imparting that on the newcomers, and so it was a nice first day to get out there. And I think that, you know, our kids show up, you know, every day, every morning with great intent and purpose, and so I think it's going to be a very, very competitive spring. And you know, for us, you know, you're looking at it on offense. You know, you've got to develop and confirm a starting running back. You know, we've got some really good candidates at that position, but that's a position there that you're looking as we go through spring to evaluate how these running backs we have on the roster develop, and I think it'll be exciting to watch. And I think our offensive line, you know, to continue to develop, you know, 8, 9, you know, 10 players there that we feel like we can win in the Sun Belt with, and then at quarterback, it's going to be a big spring for Trey. It's going to be big for Blake, you know, being able to get some of the limited reps that he does, and obviously Jackson Bradley and Brady Vodka, you know, to get the reps that they can get. So receivers, you know, we have some newcomers at receiver I think that'll factor in. We've got some guys that are returning that I think are poised to have a great spring. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you know, the biggest thing there is safety depth. You know, we lost safeties through to graduation in the portal, but very, very encouraged and excited, you know, about the safeties that we have here. Really their intent, their work ethic, their athletic ability. They're very, very, very football savvy. And we got a couple of corners that we've brought in, 3 corners that I think are really pushing, not only just to you know, pushing, I think by the time we get to fall and we get ready for our first game, I think those guys will be some of the guys that are pushing to start as well. And so that's the defensive line. You know, you return a lot of guys there, and then obviously at linebacker, you're returning a lot of guys there. And so I'm excited about what we did today, and looking forward to a great spring. It's going to accumulate with April 25th. The spring game at 11 o'clock here at Joe Ice Stadium, and it'll be more like a football game. We'll have situations. It'll be a little bit different than what we did last year, but I think it'll be a great opportunity to get our football team better, you know, throughout the course of the spring.
At quarterback, I guess just with Blake's injury, what is kind of first his status, just health-wise, and maybe that quarterback competition, how do you see it so far in spring?
Yeah, Blake will be limited. He'll be non-contact this spring. A lot of the throwing and the reps that he'll get is just all on air, and he's really, I believe he's ahead of schedule at this point. He's throwing the ball very well. I think it's important for him to get the on-the-air reps, also reps in the back, just in terms of being able to learn some of the nuances of what we're doing on offense. You know, obviously, and an unfortunate note, you know, Mason Welch will be out for spring. He tore his ACL, and so, you know, I think that there's not a finer teammate in all of football than Mason Welch, and so I think it's just it's unfortunate for him, but he's handled it, you know, as like he handles everything, just from a tremendous first class. He's a great teammate with positivity and encouragement, and he's helping coach up, you know, Jackson Bradley. He's helping coach up Brady Vodka, the 2 freshmen that'll get a ton of reps in terms of the competition, and then Trey returns, and Trey's going to be repping with the ones this spring, and I'm excited that he's back. You know, excited for the opportunity for him to improve as a passer, but also excited for him to continue to lead our team, you know, with his toughness, his grittiness, his competitiveness, and we're going to win. We have won, and we will win football games because Trey Kukik's on our football team. And then, you know, then you have Jackson and Brady that'll get a lot of the reps as well with the as we go through spring in terms of the competition.
With Coach Young now calling plays, how would you describe, I guess, what he's bringing to this offense?
Yeah, I think if you look at it to the naked eye, it's going to look very similar from a structure, formations. I think that there's some verbiage differences, and I think that the offensive staff has done a really nice job in terms of teaching it and not trying to throw too much onto the kids too soon. And so that part of it has been really good. Luke Ward is worked with Tony and the quarterbacks, and now he's working with Nathan and the quarterbacks. And so I know they've been very receptive to it. I think our kids have been very eager to learn, very eager to study it, and so I think that the transition has gone really smooth, from that standpoint, because there's a lot of carryover and a lot of things that the kids can reference back to what we were already doing.
You look at that, like you said, that running back room. What are kind of some characteristics that you'd like to see that maybe separates some guys?
I think the first thing is just day in, day out consistency. I think in terms of your assignment, in terms of the execution of what we're doing, pass protection, with the ball in their hands, you want to see guys that can make people miss. You want to see guys that can break tackles. And then who is the guy in that backfield that's going to be able to take the ball the distance? And so, I think Jaden Miller it's going to be exciting to see him. Dylan Brooks from here in town in Ruston, redshirted last year. Kenny Thomas, Riley Small's been with us for a long time. He's going to get some opportunities, and then Harrison Williams is new here as well. And I think that there's some creativity and some thought processes too with some of the other offensive skill guys that we have on this team, and what they can do with the football in their hands in the backfield also. So, but out of the running back room, the consistency, guys that can make plays, whether it's with the ball being handed to you or whether it's in the passing game, and doing that day in and day out, and then doing it with great ball security.
This defense, obviously, the takeaways were the big part of what they did. How do you kind of maintain that? I know Coach Olson will continue to highlight it. How do you just maintain that progression?
Yeah, that's one of the keys in terms of our defense, and that's what Coach Olson and the staff talk about on a daily basis. And they practice it. They practice it in the meeting rooms. They practice it pre-practice. They practice it post-practice. And so, it's something that we intend on having takeaways next year, and it helps us defensively. Now, will we have all the touchdowns we had on defense? That'd be great if we could. I don't know if we will or not, but the takeaway part of it is something that's it's not just something that we talk about. We emphasize it on a daily basis, and so it challenges you on offense, as you go through spring practice as well, in terms of having great ball security and not putting the ball at risk. But our safeties, and from a scheme standpoint, our corners is really the area. The corners are a position that can help. Maybe the safeties aren't the ones that have all the takeaways. They're still going to have a good, fair share amount of them. But now, our next season to our corners, are our corners going to be able to, when they have those plays that we, hadn't made, are they going to be able to make those plays to help increase the takeaways and maybe make up for, some of the production that other guys have lost? And then I think our linebackers, whether it's through our blitzing, whether it's through our zone drops, recognizing patterns, they should be able to factor in just like they did last year as well in terms of the takeaways. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, a guy that is a coach on the field, he has so much knowledge from an experience standpoint, and he uses it to help others. So you have an assistant coach really within the room that can help these younger guys. You have a coach on the field, and then you talk about what he does as a football player and the plays that he makes. His anticipation and his IQ is second to none. And I think that it really gives I think the positive of it is you saw Jaden Mayfield, you saw Zierk Hill, Alonzo Jackson. Those guys have emerged and grown in their leadership and in their ability to play really winning football and defense. And so now our unit has gotten stronger through the adversity that we faced with losing Colby. And then our team I think has found themselves a little bit as well. And now he comes back, and it's made our football team stronger, and it's great to have him back. It's great to have him running. He won't be doing anything spring from a practice standpoint. Really, he'll be fully cleared in June. He's straight line running, change of direction, and the same with Judd Rouillet. I mean, getting a guy like Judd Rouillet, who we lost him in the LSU game, is big for us. His playmaking ability, yes, he's very assignment sound, but he's experienced, and he is like a coach for the defensive line. And there's just not a guy that's been in the program for 4 years players. And so there's so much value in that in college football to have that within your team. Not only guys that are really, really good players, and in some cases the best players on in that position, but also guys that have the experience to elevate these guys that are around them. And we felt like at this point we've gotten those older guys at each position that now can train up the younger guys in addition to what we're teaching them from a coaching standpoint, but they can re-emphasize those same messages. You hear on the field, you hear coaches, you hear players now talk about ball security. You hear players coaching other players up in kickoff return on ball security. You hear other players talking about takeaways in the secondary. You hear other players talking about the urgency to get lined up. You hear other players talking about the different calls that we make defensively. And I think that when you can get to that part in the program, that's where you want to be at, just because you have an ownership that has been cultivated, and the players are now owning, what they're doing, and they're taking a lot of pride in it.
I see a lot of guys on Thursday, pro day, just inviting things like that, where you just encouraging them as they go through their process here.
Yes, yeah, I think Thursday's our pro day. We'll get going in the morning. About around 9:15, I believe, is when the on-the-field stuff and the weight room, I believe the weight room, and then we go on the field, up on the grass fields. We'll do it there, and just been encouraging those guys. Some of them have stayed here and trained with Coach Scholes. Some of them have gone elsewhere and trained, and now they've all, kind of really trickulated back into town, getting ready their last, I guess the routines and rhythms of what they do for pro day. But I'm very excited to see those guys go out and compete, and looking forward to it. And our players will have a chance to go out and watch them, and so it's an exciting time. And really, I just try to talk to these guys that you want to treat it really, it's like your game on Thursday, and so you just build up and you prepare and you train and you go out and let your training take over, and I'm excited for those guys to have that opportunity.
Most of the high playmakers on the offense, obviously Josh, tight end, and then Jay was telling us you got guarded Jordan Parker as well at receiver. Just maybe talk about what both of those guys bring.
Yeah, Josh coming to us, from Tulane, knew what he did out of high school, and the state championship that they won, and how he led, and the plays that he made, and in particular in that game, and then really all season. And I think the thing that's been really exciting about Josh is from now until when we began, there's been improvement in the things that we've been doing to ask. For example, like on special teams, he's playing left guard on punt. He never did that, probably as much in high school or in at Tulane. And so there's improvement. He's very athletic. He's very savvy. He retains information, and he's conscientious, and it means a lot to him. And so you've seen the improvement just in the short time that he's been here at tight end. There's a lot of things that are very new to him in terms of inline, in terms of blocking, footwork, hand placement, and in the run game. The pass game, I think, is a little bit more natural to him, running routes, catching the football. And, we'll more than likely continue to evolve his role, not just as the tight end, but maybe there's some things that we can do with him in the Wildcat, as we get further down the road. Right now we're still trying to lay the foundation of what we'll do offensively, but it's been great to have Josh back. I think he's a guy that's brought a lot of positive energy to our team room, positive energy to our offense and our tight ends room, and so we're really, really excited to have him. He's a guy that's won a state championship again, so he knows what it looks like to win at a high level, and the same with Jordan Parker. It's a little bit early with him, but in terms of the evaluation, but a kid that's really excited to be here. He's been eager and done everything we've asked of him.
Is Jordan like a walk-on?
Yeah, he's a walk-on receiver, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, Coach, thanks for talking to us.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all coming out. Yep, thanks for coming out, Matt. Yep.
Brantley looks the part.